Hi guys, Allison here. I'm so excited to connect with you. I got a letter from one of our amazing listeners and moms who wanted to connect about their non-binary teen, or actually to be more specific, they said agender. And so anyway, I'm just wanting to be as specific as possible because I don't always know all the terminology, even though it's a space that I like to explore and encourage the openness and connection of parents with teens that are non-binary or agender or queer or gay or straight, right? That we want to include everybody and help all these lovely people have amazing relationships between parents and kids, right? Parents and young people. So um, I love you guys all so much, and I'm super excited to dive into this question and support you in this journey. So I was supposed to be live on Facebook, but it didn't work out. I tried a couple of different ways, and the second way that I tried, I thought it was going to go through, and I just did this entire recording somehow completely with no sound. So maybe I should double check and make sure that I do have sound on my mic, but I don't think that's the problem. I think that's 100%. Yeah, I think that is totally because of something going on with Facebook. Because I originally tried to like link it through Zoom and then tried through Facebook Live. Neither worked. So here we are. And I'm just going to go the old fashioned way and release this not live on the podcast. But anyway, I'm going to make it available in the group. So I'm going to record it as a video so you all can see and be part of the experience, even though I'm so sad I get to be live because that was what I wanted originally. So I'm just going to take a deep breath real quick and share my love with you all and get ready for the podcast. So quick moment. Yes, thank you. I'm back. All right. Super excited to share all this with you. All right. So this amazing mama that emailed in, said, I definitely struggle with helping them navigate relationship. She has two daughters. One is very typical type stuff, boyfriends, all those kinds of things. The other child is definitely exploring her sexuality and considers herself to be agender. And we struggle with that. She thinks it may be an issue of delayed development, and the idea of intimacy or connecting in that way is frightening or disconcerting to this young person. And points out that this young person also struggles with some social cues, and it's been going on for a long time, and doesn't always understand what's happening in the social environment, especially when it comes to flirting and boys and that piece. This mom courageously acknowledges that she struggles with the teen's desire to have these different pronouns used. She says, I tell her that she has to give me some grace. I've been referring to her as she for almost 20 years, and it takes time to relearn this behavior. I don't always get it right, but I try. So thanks, Mom, for being courageous and for trying. And I really am excited to dive into the answer for you. So the way that this question is worded, I'm initially thinking about, hold on, where am I? Okay, the way that this question is worded, I'm going to give myself some space so I can see everything that's going on and talk to you guys. Okay, re-record, Tony. The way this question is worded, when we think about difficulty with social cues, it makes me wonder, is this young person experiencing some type of neurodiversity? Is their brain different? Could they benefit from some exploration of certain patterns that can be identified if you know what you're looking for? I definitely want to do like a whole podcast episode on why girls and AFAB, assigned female at birth, people often go undetected when it comes to autism, ADHD, and anxiety. The short version is these young people often have a keen awareness of the expectations in their external environment and what their teachers and coaches and peers expect from them. And they're often really excellent at masking their neurodiverse patterns. And then people end up getting frustrated with them because they can't maintain it all the time. And they're like, oh, but I don't understand why you get such good grades over here, but you can't be on time to practice or whatever the thing is, right? In Untangled by Lisa D'Amour, she talks about how like you'll have a teenager that can do an excellent job setting the table and getting everything out on time and like maybe even serving the meal, but like can't put their contacts in. Like we have this same kind of phenomenon just with not only with the teen brain, but definitely with the neurodiverse brain too. And they may actually be like on a longer trajectory to get to their full sense of adulthood. So we get caught up in this number of like 18 and it's like this big significant milestone. And while it is legally, there's definitely no reason that we should assume that everyone is going to be like baked, done, ready to go, 18, let's launch. Okay. Especially when we're talking about post-COVID teenagers. I mean, their entire education system got disrupted. So we can't expect the trajectory to just be the exact same. That's not realistic. Okay. So a little bit of a digression, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about that. So basically what I'm saying is a lot of neurodiverse female people get missed when it comes to interventions and support, and even like the way that those interventions might be applied are not going to be as supportive. So yeah, maybe that's something that you get to explore. So it's never too late. It can be really helpful to have that kind of different perspective of how we're going to approach different challenges that we're having. So your ability to support a young person's navigation of their social relationships or neurodiversity, as the case may be, or may not. I'm not trying to make any assumptions about your kid, right? Their ability to accept your support in navigating their life is going to be directly correlated with their willingness and openness to us as their guides. So the relationship that we create, the safety and connection that we provide as the parent is going to be what directs how this young person, our amazing kid, is able to get our support, receive it. They can't receive it if they don't trust us. Okay. So another thing I want to say about neurodiverse teens and when it comes to helping them explore their sexuality or their identity as sexual beings is consent. So when we're talking to these young people, hopefully we've built a strong enough relationship that they are open to our discussion about this kind of stuff, right? And understanding social cues and some of that direct teaching. When people do this, they mean that, right? Because this stuff is not cut and dry. Like my child is very young, and so we're sometimes like discussing like different race topics, and some of the things are just really tricky if you don't have the context of the whole social structure that is our culture and our society. Like certain things we don't say, right? And as a little child, as a developing brain, we may not just like pick up on that stuff without some direct teaching. So in the same way, we're going to want to definitely do some direct teaching about consent. So consent is 100%. Consent is going to be an enthusiastic yes. And we want to be teaching that. And consent is not only sexual, right? But we want to build the skills, especially in some of those like non-sexual contexts, so we can practice saying yes and no and being really clear on that. And we also want to teach our kids to be clear when they're uncomfortable, when they want to say no. And part of that is going to be how we parent them and how we accept their no over time and allow them to tell us actually, no, I'm not cool with that. Let's not do this. Let's do something different that works better for the whole family unit. And that includes me, right? Okay. So, we're going to talk about pronouns, y'all. Okay. Let's dig into this piece about adjusting to pronouns. So, as I want you to do for your teenagers and in all of your relationships, right? And me, I want to lead by offering you empathy, and I invite you to do the same thing for yourself. Okay. So I'm acknowledging that this is hard. You didn't know that when you got a gender in an ultrasound, that was going to be this whole other discussion now. And it was going to be hard. And so I just acknowledge you that you're here, you're in this, you're doing the hard work with your kids. Okay. So thank you for that. And I acknowledge the feelings. Okay. There are going to be feelings. Breathing with you through that. Okay. That's pretty much always going to be step one. Empathy, acknowledgement, right? Okay. So one of the things, I don't know exactly where to start with this. So I'm going to just say that if you're operating from the perspective that gender identity or sexual orientation are a choice, then it makes perfect sense that there would be this desire to keep our kids from having to face that identity, that sense of rejection from the world, because that's not what our culture, that's not what our society has previously, up until this point, accepted as normal, as worthy, as good enough, right? So I just want to acknowledge that that may be your experience, and that the inclination to try to help and protect your child is normal, and I feel you. Okay. So I don't believe it to be the case that we choose how we want to identify our sexual identity, or our sexual identify ourselves sexually, and that we get to discover who we really are sometimes through a process of trying on different identities. So, as parents, it's hard when our kids try on identities of any kind, right? The class clown, the nerd, the rebel, the partier, the goth, the queer, or the non binary. There is part of us that wants to protect them from an identity that could cause them hardship. Okay. And to give you an example, I experienced this with my family in a different way when I started my own business, when I started this online business. It was really hard for my family to see me choose a path that wasn't the status quo. We love our kids. We don't want to see them struggle. Okay. So I feel you. When you've been talking about your daughter for the past 18 years or 12 years or whatever it is, it's hard to let go of everything that you've constructed around that and who you thought they were, or your sense of who they are. Okay. So this next part is essential, and I really want you to listen to this. My guess is that, and listen to the whole piece, right? Because it's going to start a little wonky and then I'm going to get to it. All right. So my guess is that you are the kind of mom that has maybe one or two relationships that you have tried to make better, but you can't because of the behavior of the other person. Chances are you have tried setting healthy boundaries and creating opportunities for connection with them, and it just doesn't work. And you are not taking any chances on having that kind of relationship with your children. Because if you are like the other moms and dads that I have encountered, and you are listening to this podcast, then you love your kids unconditionally. Unconditionally. My invitation to you is to allow yourself to feel whatever you need to move past this grief, this stress, this visceral feeling that maybe you don't have the words for yet, that makes you want to push away this word, this label that your kid is asking you for. Whatever you need to stop pushing it away. That will only make this situation, that the part of the situation that feels like a problem, feel bigger and grow if we don't let ourselves feel it and we keep trying to push it away. Okay. My friend Laura Dawn says, name it to tame it and feel it to heal it. Okay. So try to figure out what the feeling is, what the thought is, pin it down so you can have some words behind it so that you can use your logic to reason around it and be like, actually, I'm okay with this because whatever your because is, right? And feel that so you can move through it. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you right now get to help your kids discover who they are by the way you choose to connect and interact with them. So I hear you that you're trying. I know that you are. And I know that you love your kids desperately and you want them to be happy. So, what you want your kid to know, to really know, is that you love them unconditionally. You will affirm who they are unconditionally. Whether they succeed or fail in life, you will see them as precious and valuable. You can show that to them by being curious about the experiences and thoughts and feelings that led them to want to use gender-free pronouns. You have the gift and the responsibility to help them see this best version, this fully authentic version of themselves. So I'm proud of you for having the courage to ask the question and get this answer. So a lot of parents want to know if this is a phase. And I hope I've affirmed you enough at this point to ask you this really thoughtful question. Does it matter? Does it matter? Have they ever gone through a phase in their entire life where you did not love them or see them as valid? If they are trying to find their identity, then they need you more than ever to help them figure it out. Not to tell them who they need to be. But to be with them as they are and to love them completely and wholeheartedly as they are so that they can have the courage to be their most authentic, powerful, fully expressed self. And know that is who you most want them to be. This is why I'm so passionate about today's young people and about supporting their moms and the relationships that they have with these powerful people that are willing to parent in a new way. I love this generation of teens. They are emotionally intelligent and kind and out of the box thinkers. And they are navigating this world where they've had this disrupted, interrupted educational experience, and they're facing different pressures and different challenges and a world with this huge level of awareness and climate that none of us had experienced as teens. And I believe in them, and I'm excited for what they're going to create, and I'm excited for their vision of the world. And I also know that they need you. They need their amazing moms that are willing to feel stuff so that they can guide them into their brave futures. So keep it up. You're doing amazing. I hope you can feel my love out there for you all. And I look forward to a world where all of us have more peaceful relationships with our kids. Meanwhile, I am offering kind of like an end of the month celebration gift for you. For 5 people, can grab a quick zero pitch conversation with me where I'm going to coach you through your biggest struggles. We've got 20 minutes to solve to bring up like just rapid fire, solve as many problems as we can. And I'm really excited to connect with you and get to know you all so much more. So lots of love. Email me if you have any questions that you want me to answer on the podcast. And I hope you all have a beautiful holiday. Lots of love. Hey, don't forget to love yourself.